Today I'll be talking about different parts of Asia and Africa from the 15 to 1800s. We're going to start with Africa. Between 1500 AD or CE and 1800, African societies maintained empires throughout West Africa, East Africa, and South Africa. We're going to talk about a few of these societies today, but not all of them. The ones we're going to talk about include Songhai, the Asante, Ethiopia, Congo, and the Zulu people. Major geographic features of Africa helped to shape these empires and included land and water features. Songhai you're already familiar with. They were ruled by an absolute monarch, commanded the military, and controlled an imperial bureaucracy. Their economic system was based on trade. They traded gold across the Sahara Desert, but at this time they did start to participate in the slave trade, trading on the coast. The Asante, sometimes referred to as Ashanti people in West Africa, had a political system. They eliminated the clan tradition in favor of a unified government under a central leader. Osei Tutu was a military leader. He won control of the trade city Kumasi. He conquered neighboring people. He organized the Asante kingdom, and he claimed the right to rule came from heaven. So you might remember learning about the mandate of heaven in China. And in our next unit, we'll talk about divine right to rule. That was an idea being practiced in Europe at this time. He did have a council of advisors to work at his will. The Asante had an economic system based on the trade of slaves and gold. They traded gold across the Sahara Desert, and they also participated in the slave trade with the Americas across the sea. Ethiopia had a political system that was ruled by a monarch and it was centered on Christianity. The economic system of Ethiopia was based on trade of gold, ivory, and frankincense across the Sahara Desert and also overseas. Let me talk a little more about Ethiopia. Ethiopia had traded with the Roman Empire and in ancient times, so Ethiopia did develop as a Christian empire, and it was a Christian empire. Congo. The political system, it was ruled by a monarch with centralized power over a bureaucracy. Now, a leader from Congo who became well known for his beliefs was Afonso I. Afonso I was tutored by Portuguese missionaries, and he became king in 1505. He did convert to Christianity, and he tried to unsuccessfully end the slave trade. So he tried, but he was unsuccessful in ending the slave trade. He did not think that Congo should be participating in the slave trade. However, he was not able to end Congo's participation in this. The economic system for Congo was based on agriculture, which means farming, also metallurgy, metalwork, and trade of ivory and slaves. Congo is a Christian kingdom. They had elaborate artwork that was done on wood, cloth, and terracotta. And here are some pictures of some of those fabric works of art. The Zulu had a political system ruled by a monarch with a centralized power over a bureaucracy. Shaka emerged as a ruthless leader who waged war to conquer people to add them to the kingdom. Zulu pride spread as a result of his conquests, but then the Boers defeated them. We'll talk about the Boer War and the Dutch fighting the Zulu when we get to our age of imperialism and learn more about that war. The Zulu economic system was based entirely on agriculture and livestock. The religion was indigenous religion characterized by ancestral spirits and the use of magic. Their culture, the history was passed down through oral traditions in an indigenous language. Asia. Europe's exploration era sent shockwaves of change throughout the world. Many pre-existing cultures either shaped Europe's path of discovery benefited from it or were destroyed by it or attempted to avoid it. So we're going to talk about the Ottoman Empire, China, the Mughal Empire in India, and Japan during this time. You already know about the Ottoman Empire. They emerged as a political and economic power after conquering Constantinople in 1453. They renamed that city Istanbul, But the Ottoman Empire was around before they did this. They'd been around for quite a while. Political system was centralized bureaucratic government ruled by a sultan who was considered a political and a religious leader. Economic system, they were located at the crossroads of trade between Europe and Asia, and their economy was based on trade and agriculture. Effectively, they were the middleman in the New World Trade Network. The Ottomans dominated and spread from Asia Minor to Southwest Asia, Southeastern Europe, and North Africa. The Ottoman Empire centered their trade around export of ceramics and coffee, but Islamic faith would be the focus of the Ottoman Empire for centuries. The Ottomans practiced Islam. Islamic religion served as a unifying force in this empire, and they did tolerate other religions within the empire. So originally, the Ottoman Empire starts in the lands around Asia Minor. The expansion and extent of the Ottoman Empire, it does expand into Southwest Asia, Southeastern Europe, the Balkan Peninsula, and at one time includes parts of North Africa. Again, they exported coffee and ceramics. Some of the leaders of the Ottoman Empire include Osman, who was the founder of the Ottoman Empire. Followers of Osman were called Ottomans, and they were known for the strong use of gunpowder for success in conquering other groups of people. Tamerlane claimed to be a descendant of Genghis Khan, and he actually burned the city of Baghdad to the ground when he led the Ottomans. Mehmet II captured Constantinople in 1453, so he was the leader of the Ottomans at that point in time. Suleiman means literally lawgiver, and it was known as a lawgiver, and it was under his rule that the empire reaches its height. There was a balance of law with religious tolerance under his reign. Mosques and religious complexes were built by Sinan. He was an architect of the Ottoman Empire. Developments in architecture, calligraphy, manuscript painting, textiles, and ceramics all took place in the Ottoman Empire. The decline of the Ottoman Empire took place because of corruption in the government. And finally, after World War II, the Ottoman Empire was dissolved and Turkey was created from some of that empire. The Mughal Empire controlled much of India. They were descendants of the Mongols, and they conquered northern India and brought the Muslim faith to that region. They established trade ports with Europeans all along the coast of the Indian Ocean. The Mughals were known for their fine textiles, cloth, and largely influencing the British textile industry. We'll talk more about this when we talk about the age of imperialism. They also contributed greatly to Indian art and architecture. For example, this is the Taj Mahal that was built under the Mughal Empire in India. Southern India remained unconquered, and they also traded with Europeans. From southern India, we have silk, spices, and gems being traded. So here's the Taj Mahal. Small merchant groups colonized many ports throughout India, the East Indies, and China, eventually creating trading companies that dominated commerce in the area. Trading companies from Portugal, the Netherlands, and England were all getting a foothold in this part of the world at that time. So Asia tried to resist Western influence. China established imperial policies to limit trade and organized enclaves in order to control it. An enclave was basically you had a port, a certain area where trade could take place, but other than that, China did not want Europeans or their influence in their land. For Japan, Japan was led by an emperor, but the control in Japan was really by the military leader, and the head of the military was a shogun. So in Japan, they did adopt a policy of isolationism to limit foreign influence. So they were not trading with Western Europe or Europe at all